Hi folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. Today's adventure starts off where the last video left off. That was at this little abandoned cottage. Today we're about to punch on over this hill, hopefully along this track, and it should take us to another abandoned location for today's video. And to be honest, I'm not even sure what we're about to see. I just know that there's some old structures and buildings and ruins out here, and it's one of these cool spontaneous adventures. I didn't even plan to come here until about half an hour ago, so yeah, let's get into action and see what we can find on today's adventure. Abandoned history, folks, hidden in the remote glen of Scotland. It's not even a glen, the remote countryside I should say, and it's in Angus. So for this week's videos, folks, I'm actually battling against extreme winds and wild weather. The best thing is it's not raining today. It is meant to rain tomorrow, and that's why I've been out on quite a lot of madnesses today. But I think Highlander will be out for the next adventures, so that'll be pretty cool. But today, this is just some madness on the hill here, and on the map, Google satellite and stuff like that, I noticed that there is grazing lands here and often cows kicking about. So I'm just hoping that we can avoid all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think I just need to basically keep on going this direction, follow this track, and then the history should be probably like potentially a mile up ahead, so I'll update you once we're further along the track. So judging from Google satellite and the old maps and stuff, it looks like there was actually buildings on like a mound over here. It's like a hill that seems to have buildings, and then around the hill it's got other little buildings as well. But it's no saying that it's a croft or anything like that on the map, so I'm interested to see what's here. Now we've got boots on the ground here, it's cool just to see what lies in the land to be uncovered. And it is mad, like, what's the reason they've built it here? That's what I like to find out. And what was its original purpose? And I love seeing these little hard to reach corners of Scotland on my adventures. If there wasn't a wee bit of history to be found, I never would have come down here and seen such a beautiful land. And it's cool that I can share these adventures with people all over the world. Some people have got no chance to come and find history like this or see such incredible places, and that makes it even more special to do these videos. So over in this field to the right hand side, I think it looks like the tatties have been harvested out of it, but there's actually two bits in that field which the farmer goes round and doesn't lay any crops in or plant any crops, and I think that's been because there's foundations of old buildings related to this place within that field. But I think because of years of agriculture, obviously there's no much of it left. Yeah, there's a wee track leading in there as well. I think, yeah, we're on the home straight almost. I basically need to go through this most overgrown area. That must be the hill over there. There must be buildings in front of me somewhere within this piece of land. This is so cool, folks. Uncovering history that I've never seen. Here's a little clue as to where we are today, folks. You can actually see out that gap the North Sea, and that's a cool thing. You can see the beautiful sunshine lighting up the landscape there at the far side, and yeah, you can see the ridge in the land. I believe that must be the hill. I've come over to this side nearer the field thinking it's probably a little bit easier to walk, because that was getting super like boggy and the grass is really long. Yeah, look, there is a bit of a road down here. So apparently there was 3 buildings here originally on the old maps from the 1800s, and over there was a spring, and when I look in that direction I can actually see a boggy hole in the field, and that's likely to be where their spring originally was for this location, because this was a genuine little settlement here. I'm not sure if it was a house or what they were doing, but it'd be cool if we can actually find remains of these buildings right here. Yeah, look at this unusual bit of land. It's just overgrown. It maybe is too boggy for the farmer to do a lot with, but it looks like there has been folk driving across, so I'm not sure if there's like gamekeeper operations and such like. And I think that has been tatties in that field there most recently. Here we go, folks. I think this here is actually the first remains of one of the buildings. Oh look, it's piles of stones nowadays. See, farmers and stuff dump the stones like off the field over the years, and you can end up with piles of stones like this. I think under this pile of stones was the first little outline of a building, and I think I can see more over there. There's nothing definitive enough here to say, oh, that's a wall, because obviously it's just a pile of stones at this point. So we'll punch along in front of this and see if we can see any form of a building. On the map there was a little building here, so there's a fair chance these were just tipped in to what was already at this location. It almost is like there, look, you can see, here we go folks, this is remains of an old building. Because look, here's the sides of what would have been the fireplace. And look, we can tell it is a fireplace. So look, we've just found an old abandoned cottage here folks. Back in the olden days, they used to have this at the side of the fire, and it was a metal bar, and that was the hinge. And the metal bar used to hinge out from the top of the fire, and like they would put their kettle or anything they were cooking with, then they would hinge it back over the fire. And that shows that this was genuinely a little area that they were cooking, and somebody would have been living their life here, sleeping within this little area, eating their meals, and just think this was their little spot right here. And since we've uncovered this little nugget of history, that makes me more hopeful that over here there's going to be some other cool stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. I could see the two bits in the field there. I think there's been buildings originally there, and obviously the stone must be so hard in the ground there that they've just left it and they've not actually ploughed it up when they've been doing the crops. Look, here's some bits of metal or whatever, maybe for the original farm days. Yeah, it's maybe even been something that's been on the ground and it's been tipped over with the field stones. Anyway, let's take a wee look. See what else we can find here. I need to zoom in on my map, see what I can see. Yeah, there should be another building in line with this one. I'm sure I can actually see that. So let's punch on along here and see what we can see. A lot of these fields now are actually harvested with those big self-propelled tatty machines now. And it's cool to see them, they go so quick. Oh aye, there's actually loads of a building left here folks. This is an absolute dream come through to find this. Wow, if you imagine the tatty harvesting back at the times, this must have been maybe a wee farm Croft or whatever, I'm not sure. But think how the technology's moved on to nowadays with those big self-propelled monsters like the oxbow and such like. And it just takes them maybe like a day to do a whole field, whereas years ago it would have taken them a week, or it would have taken a good few days rather than one day. Yeah, I'm going to go up on top of this mound in the land here. It's unusual the way this land is shaped. And yeah, I think this is the buildings that I was seeing on the map. It was hard to tell if they were actually on the top of the mound or if they were just on the edge of it, and it appears they've been built on the edge of it. There's another unusual bit over there. It's like stones, kind where you can see that overgrown bit in the middle of the field. On my adventures as well folks, I never go trampling through crops and stuff or fields that's been sown. I'm always respectful of the countryside and the farmers' operations within the land that I explore. It's only the forgotten historical locations like this that I love coming to see before they are gone forever. And just look at that beautiful scene with the stone there and that backdrop. This is so cool. I'm just going directly over here in a straight line. Yeah, this has been another little building here, like a rectangle. And once again you can see field stones have been dumped in it, but that's a common thing in Scotland for that to happen. And then there's actually a dam over here on the hill as well. Wow, this is a cool peaceful spot out here, I just love it. I'm glad I actually made the decision as well to come in that little bit further. Look at the fine stone here at the corner of the building. It shows you how grand this building actually was originally. Most likely the stone was taken from here and then used for building other projects and buildings within the area, and that happens a lot in Scotland. This would have been the front of the house pretty much here. I think I'm walking along the ridge of the front wall. It's been kind of about here. Sometimes the stones which were like around the windows and the doors were often the ones that were taken, because they were so well finished and they were perfect for any house, even a new build. And that's why these places got robbed and stolen. Look at this old construction here. This is so cool to see. This is the coolest building we've seen at this site so far. I need to watch it then I fall down an old well or something as well. That can be something that you get at farms. But yeah, there's nothing on the map about a well, so we should be okay. Look at this, the thickness of the old stone walls. Oh, there's a wee bird. There's literally a tiny little bird and it's the size of my thumb. And it's still there. Look, this has been a door and it's been one of the farm sheds, because look at the size of this door here. It's quite wide, and that's been for obviously the farm operations, machinery and such like going out and in. Machinery of that era, that would have been a big door back in the day. Oh look, there's geese coming over, folks. I wondered what the noise was initially when I was speaking. I just heard the burp burp. Yeah, like there's an unusual hole in the wall there. I wonder if that was for the farmer, like laying his lantern or whatever in when he was out here maybe milking the cow in the dark morning. Look, there's a bit where you can see there's been something in there, maybe a bit of wood with like framing and stuff mounted onto it. And look here, there's been stuff mounted into this wall. See, the thing with these places, folks, it's hundreds of years off and they're abandoned and forgotten. So the fact you see that, you have to think there's been wood. All the wood just gets rotted away so quickly. Look, here's a cool thing. Look, the original limestone mortar. You can see some of it. And you can see the difference between a shed construction compared to like the house constructions we often see. Look at this original wall at this end. It's actually so well built. I just love to see stuff like this, folks. And it's another place that I didn't even know existed until today. And there's just always so much adventure to be had. You often just hate to go out and just go full send into nature, and Scotland's so perfect for it. Each week you can find new things and document things that just isn't seen, and it's all wee nuggets of Scotland's history that's almost forgotten. So look at this beautiful view out here, folks. You can see the last remains of this wall and then the view across this. Look how actually out here there's been a bit of a yard, and it's been dug out and levelled, and potentially even more of a field originally. And that's the back side of this place, the back wall. And then yeah, see, since the last clip, folks, I took a few steps and I looked down and I actually had a tick on my trousers, and look, there's another one. Look at that right there, folks. That is actually a tick. And I hate them. So I'm going to punch over at the line of the field. I was going to go up that hill, but we're getting out of here, folks. That's been a mad wee adventure. We've documented this little farm. So I have been pushing my luck a bit, folks, for the tick situation. And that's why I've probably had a few of them on me there. I've just given myself a good check and I couldn't actually see any more. But that's the risk, obviously. I've been going through long grass, especially over there in that area. And often to come and see these places, that's just part of the deal. It's often quite hard. Like, nature's part of the thing that makes it difficult to come and see these places. Years ago, the ticks weren't even such a bad thing. In another few weeks, obviously as winter kind of comes in, you see less and less of them. But today, I've just, at this location in particular, I just saw the 2 ticks. And I do look down now and again and just like check for that. Like, there's an old bit of brown glass in the field, and that's maybe been something related to this farm. It's been so cool with this farm because we were able to locate the old house and then the old shed, or even if it's not been a farm, whatever it's been, we saw the house and then the old buildings, because there's definitely been the rectangular building here and then the main shed, and then like we saw with the house a little bit further along. It's so cool. We could tell it was a house because of the cooking area and the cooking like fire. So that's just amazing. This little place is just set here in the land, overlooking the beautiful North Sea in the far distance. And maybe one day we'll have to come back in the winter and have another look around, maybe more thorough, because I always say that the winter's the best time for exploring in Scotland. It would be interesting to see what's over within that area, but I think that is just bedrock. Sometimes in Scotland the bedrock comes right up to the top, so there's no much earth, and you get bits like that in the field. Here's the second historical find at this location, folks. Look at it. It's been a bit of an old handle or something off a pot. It's made of the clay, which has been cooked in a kiln. And yeah, wow, that just shows under this field it's probably been the midden or whatever at a certain time. Obviously the shape of the fields and stuff changes over the years. There's another piece of pottery. So much fun often just walking in Scotland, lad, keeping your eyes down to the ground. I was just thinking I should maybe go over and have a quick look at these 2 squares in the land here, folks, because the field has been harvested. It's only just mud under my feet, and it's better walking this way than what it is over the grass with the ticks. And there was on the old maps buildings here as well, so it'll be cool to document this whole site before we leave. So here's the first square in the land, folks. There's no much going on in this scene. It seems just like quite a steep mound, quite a steep ridge in the land. But over here, look, there's tons of stones. It's maybe been the footprint of a building like we saw at the other side, but potentially it's just had all these field stones tipped into it, which is a common thing with some of those old building ruins that you get. Yeah, because I think there was like a rectangular building here, which is cool to see. You can kind of get an idea of it from the shape of the area that they've been dumping the stones in. I'll climb up here so we can get a look. We'll get an idea of the rectangle for them. A lot of farmers will say, oh no, that's just been where they're dumping stones, but literally it is. But they've actually been dumped on top of the old foundation here, and then that other square there will be the old spring, which most likely they had a water pump or whatever, or they would have gone over there to get their water, most commonly. Since I saw the tick, I'm even more paranoid now, folks. I'm being more careful. I was hoping that we were out of tick season, so I've been a bit more wild recently, going in through long grass, especially on the way into this adventure, and even the last one. So now that I've seen that, I'm being more careful, but I always think, do I have any more on me? So I'm constantly looking. So as I walk here within this land, I imagine the old boy maybe ploughing here with the horses. Maybe a horse or two horses tied on the front of the plough. It would take so long just slowly working your way back and forward. Often back at the times of this individual croft or farm, whatever it was, it would have been like horses for every job basically. And at that time these fields were a lot smaller. In the modern day farming, often the fields have had some of the fences and stuff taken down, so one field or whatever now actually is 3 old fields, and that can often be the reason you see so much individual stuff like in the middle of a field or whatever. At one time it would have been at the edge of the field, or maybe even more like the farmyard here. So it's cool to come here on foot and imagine the people who originally farmed these lands and the little corners of Scotland like this that's now forgotten. You can see how it had been such probably a thriving, amazing little place. One day it just fell silent. Now it still gets the thunder of the tractors going past its front door, but that's the nearest thing it gets to being a farm nowadays. And the more years that pass, these walls just keep tumbling more and more. The limestone mortar gets washed out so easily, and that's why on my channel I like just recording all buildings or all history from different time periods. Everything's in a state of decay from the day it's built, and on this channel we like to document everything and tell the story of history from all different aspects of Scotland. And I need to now make my way back over to this gate at the far corner, but there's no real easy way. I'm more worried now about the ticks in the long grass. But I am dressed appropriately to avoid getting bitten by ticks, because I've got my trousers tucked into my socks, and also I've got my jersey tucked into my trousers, so the ticks should in theory not be able to bite me, or it'll be harder for them. Yeah, look, I'm just going to have to go this way. Right folks, we can say goodbye to another abandoned croft or farm. That's why I think it's been, judging from what's left. And we've documented all aspects of the farm that's left to tell the story. That's so cool. Look at this bush here. The flowers are out already, and it must have forgotten what time of year it is. All the other ones at this time of year didn't have much on them. But yeah, anyway, that's been cool. It's been another little abandoned piece of history in Scotland here, hidden and forgotten, miles from a main road. This is the nearest thing to a main road, even near it. And then obviously once you go through that gate, there's not even a main road. It's that horrible long grass, kind of boggy. But yeah, it's been a fun adventure. I'm going to end this one here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back soon with the next one, wherever I end up going.